we need to understand Madua leizachol Yisrael lekabel Torah ad she'ar begolos Mitzrayim. It says we know there was a process of Matan Torah that had to be Golus Mitzrayim. There had to be Vayimaros Chayim. It was actually a refining process. But Lecha, why did they have to wait until all that? Alek Farzach they Avis. Lecha, the Avis already prepared the world for Matan Torah. So why did it have to wait until the Avis? V'gam Eicha Yerachos Kol Lavsis Kol Yehudim.
Did they know there will be a Matan Torah?
Sure they knew. V'gam Eicha Yerachos Lavsis Kol Yehudim. How were they able to do all the... We said before that the whole Inyan of Mitzvahs is the Shem Yuchad Kush Shubirich Shchinte, right? To bring down. So he said the others did these Yechudim. So I was asking, so then what they could have got Matan Torah then. And the question is, if there was no Milah yet, how were they able to do the Yechudim? Ki Amila Nitna Achar Kach when he was Ben Tzadik Tashana. So he says like this. Rak the Isa, where it says that Kiyam Avram Kol Torah Kula. So Lechera Eichiniach Tefillin. How did Avram Avinu put on Tefillin? In Tefillin, the Parshas all talk about Yitzias Mitzrayim, Shema Yisrael Devarim. So how was Avram able to put on, what Tefillin did he wear? There was no Parshas he had to put in. Asher Nizka Sham Yitzvah Zadayin Lo Yeklal Gos Mitzrayim. Okay, so Lechera, in fact, there's an interesting question that the Shainim asked. Shema and V'hoyim Shemaya was given in the 40th year. The year we're commanded to put on tefillin in Mitzrayim, Kadosh Tiko B'chor. So how did they wear tefillin the first 40 years? Because the two parshas, Shema and V'hoyim Shemaya, was given in the 40th year. Kadosh V'hoyim Kriyachot, the other two parshas of tefillin were given in Mitzrayim. So how did they wear tefillin? They were missing two parshas. And today, if you miss two parshas, one letter, it's not kosher. So many Rishonim learn that they actually had boxes of tefillin. They had one box, they had 4 boxes, but there were only 2 parshas in it. Kadosh Li and V'hoyim Kriyacha. They were Mekayim the mitzvah tefillin because they didn't have the other 2 yet. They had what they had, but they were Mekayim the mitzvah tefillin. But anyway, the question is, how can Avram Avinu, how can he put on tefillin? There was no Yitzias Mitzrayim yet. Al-Ba'emet, he says, Yesh Pnimis v'chitzonius. There's the Pnimis, okay, and he's going to explain what this means. And there's the chitzonius. He says, Al-Ba'emet v'akim sh'lahayim b'pnimis. Okay, he didn't do it b'chitzonius. In other words, when it says in tefillin, Vayidaber Hashem, Vayirma Hashem, so you have the physical parsha of tefillin that says Vayidaber Hashem, Vayirma Hashem, whatever it is. But what does it mean in a spiritual sense, in a pneumistic way? Vayirma Havaya means Havaya revealed that level of Elokus. So yeah, there was no physical Vayirma Hashem or Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu. Hainu is galus vam shachas erin tzav kula almin momayla melmata in a level of pneumis. So they did it in a pneumistic way. They did it in a pneumistic way, not in the physical external way. They did it in a higher level. But in order for that to come down the pearl into a physical parchment, yeah, that is a difficulty. In other words, in Pnimius, in Ruchnius, they put on tefillin. They had Shibud Alev HaMayach. Like it says, Yaakov Avinu, when he played with the colored sticks, was the inyan of putting on tefillin, because tefillin is the inyan of teferes, and the colored sticks are the multicolored as teferes. So in Ruchnius, they did it. But to bring it down into a physical sense, ain't a derech ishtalshtus. It cannot come down just level to level, because from Ruchnius, you can't have Gashmias. You could take Ruchnius and lower it 1 billion levels, you're still not going to get Gashmias. But that came idea by Yamadu Chayem Bechol Aveda Kosher. Nasis Galus Mebchinas Lamaylam Yishtalshus. Came a level higher than Ishtalshus, and then Ruchnius could become Gashmias. Because Ruchnius is Ruchnius, and Gashmias is Gashmias. once there is a hishtalshlus, once they're classified as like or and chayshech, once or is or, it can't be chayshech. But before or is or, and before chayshech is chayshech, then or could be chayshech, and chayshech could be or. Ruchnius could be gashmis, and gashmis could be ruchnius.
In other words, the avot would have to fill in on the table.
What?
The avot would have the kavanah to put the fill in, and that's accepted.
They didn't have kavanah. They did an action, but the physical action didn't stay holy.
No physical action.
It's like the Mefarshim ask at the beginning of next week's parsha, yeah? We learn now from Avram Avinu, right? They're having guests, because Avram Avinu is in the middle talking to Hashem. He said, hold on, I got my guests. Okay? But the Rishonim ask a question. The Rashi said the Malachim didn't actually eat. One opinion says they actually ate.
They didn't have Persian catering.
Yeah, that's right. So the bottom line is that the Malachim didn't eat. Yeah? So the Rebbe asks us in the Sikha, by the way. So, how is it possible? So Avraham Avinu did a fake Achnos Sorcha. It wasn't real Achnos. If you give your guest to eat, he doesn't eat. You're not Mekayim the mitzvah of Achnos Sorcha. But if the Malachim faked eating, so how can you learn out that Achnos Sorcha is greater than Kabbalas Pnei Shechina when he didn't even give him food to eat? The Rebbe explained before that, before Matan Torah, that Achnos Sorcha is more Baruchnius, and that's what he did. So he said, but it's Ruva Imoro Chaveim B'chol Aveda B'kosher, brought down a level higher than Ishtaushlis. Why? Because Vayimoros Chayim is very simple. They broke the body. Through the Egyptian torture, they broke the body. So then the body wasn't that level anymore of a goof. It became more ruchniistic because it became higher than Ishtaushlis. V'gam l'matim Ishtaushlis. Because then he could be a gilui higher than Ishtaushlis, lower than Ishtaushlis. Kisham in that level, ma'ilo mata shavin. Higher and lower is equal. Gam chacham lebechina sasi choshi. To the extent that chachma, the highest level, is equal to asiyah, which is the lowest level. Like we say every day in God davening, kulam b'chachma asisa. I mean, it's impossible. Kulam b'chachma asisa. Simply it means Hashem made everything with chachma. Right? But in a deeper level, Chassidus explains, Chachma Asisa, that means Chachma, and as far as Hashem is concerned, Chachma and Asiyah are kulam, they're equal. Because compared to the infinite, Chachma, the highest, and the lowest are equal. Compared to kulam, the Gilguli Adich. Why? Because the Igulim of Adich, I'll explain in a second. Makif and Ragli Asiyah. Because, again, Keser, even a crown is round, basically. So Keser is the level of not Hishtaushlis, which is higher than lower. Makifim Keser is a Makif level, right? It's on top of the head. In a Makif, it's a circle. In a circle, there is no higher and lower. So higher and lower are all the same. That's why it says the expression, that Iguli Arich, the Gulim level of Arach, which is even the lower level of Keser, Makif and Ragla Asiyah, surround the feet of Asiyah, meaning that level it's all the same. Hainu Amshach is his Gaus min Amakiv Elyon. Hakel Atzilas B'ri Yitziyah, and Asiyah, as Ayochel Ishtalshul Yitzayne. Then, once you tap into Ishtalshuls, higher than Ishtalshuls, the Gashmi and Ruchni is the same. So in other words, like this, the Avis were only able to reveal Ruchnius. So Avraham Avinu did the mitzvahs in a Ruchniistic level. To give you an example, Meshabed Alav HaMereach, the Tefillin is all about, right? You combine the mind and the heart in Ruchnius. You can connect Seichel with Midas in a Ruchniistic level. But to bring it down into a Gashmistika level, that the Gashmistika object becomes holy, and the physical hand becomes holy, and everything becomes holy, that it had to be through Golus Mitzrayim. Vayimoros Chayim, because through that they reveal the level higher than the Shtalshalus, and then you're able to be now Ruchnis in the Gashmis.
This is the level of Avalon or Abraham?
No, he's thinking that doesn't matter. It's before Matan Torah, doesn't matter. The only thing that he had was B'ris Milah, that's it. That was into the Gashmis.
Without going to Mitzrayim, we would not have a Torah.
Correct. And without this present Golus now, we wouldn't have the Gilui of Torah Shel Mashiach. And because the Gilui of the secrets of Torah are greater than the revealed Torah, therefore that Golus took 210 years, and our Golus took 2,000 years and going. What? No.
If there was no chet, would Torah be given?
If my grandmother had wheels, it should be a covered wagon. I mean, if. But what, you know, there's an English expression like that. My grandmother had wheels, it should be a covered wagon. I know what that means, but that's the expression. If.
And without...
Hashem wanted it to happen. Everything was exactly the way Hashem wants.
And without Adam sinning, we would not have a Torah.
That's what he's asking. If. I don't know. We'd have a Torah, maybe the question is to be the same level as now.
Is it possible...
Without the Egel, we wouldn't have much of Torah either. The Medrash said first Luchas was Torah Shebiksav with a few small little things. The
Is
Luchas...
it possible that life has been many times over already? Like
What?
once Adam did not sin and the life went this way, and then once Adam made a sin, the life went this way.
No. What's the big problem with that?
Has been many life cycles like that. One that Adam made a mistake one time he didn't make a mistake. Is this life the only one that has existed in this world?
Yes.
There have been many lives.
No. Many worlds? No.
Many cycle of life.
No. No. The world is 5,786 years old. There's one life cycle, and there was, that's it, and Adam, and it's exactly what happened. And every action we do affects the whole world for all time. Okay, so he says, okay, Aval Avram le'yimshech rabchinas pnimis mamayla. Avram Avinu only did the mitzvah b'primis. Lochein lo yadayin is galus b'maisa mitzvahs b'gashmis mamish. Therefore, it couldn't come down into the gashmis tika chitzenius. Rakakim shaloi kol ha-Torah was the level of pnimis. Okay? So that was until 99 years old. But K'shoye ben Tzadik Tes, when he was 99 years old, Nitnei b'matane mitzvah smila, b'maisa mamish, that became an action, a physical action that Hashem broke the barrier between Ruchnis and Gashmis. So, in other words, the mitzvah Mila was like post-Matan Torah. Because Hashem commanded him to do it. Because he had to have this Gashmistic Kedusha that Yitzchak should be born. Yitzchak was born after Avram Avinu's bris. Right? When he already had the Kedusha in the Gashmistic thing. Therefore, born of Yikablu HaTorah. Then the Eden would be able to accept Torah Bizgalus Echitzenis, Mitzvahs Maisa Mamish, in action of a physical world. So there had to be a process. Avram Avinu, that's all Achana to Matan Torah, by the way. Avram Avinu, the office had to do the Mitzvahs Beruchnias. Then Beruchnias, that set the stage for it to happen Begashmis. But before that, there would have to be one example in Gashmis, that was the Mitzvah Milah, and then Yitzchak would be born, and Yaakov would be born, and then they would be able to accept the Torah. So actually, even that was a process. Therefore, why didn't Avram get the Torah? Because he got Yishmael. Because he got Yishmael. Torah is not shaykh to Yishmael. But now that Yitzchak was born after the Milah, then he can give birth to Yaakov Tamim. Because Hashem said to him before Bris Milah, Yisalach lefanai v'hayei samim. And Rashi says, what does it mean, Tamim? Through Bris Milah become Tamim. Right? So that couldn't be for Yishmael to be Dafki Yitzchak. Asher kiblu banav ater v'maisa mitzvahs. That was a order minag af b'chinas chitzainis. Because then it came even into chitzainis. Kilenegda l'mayla minish taushis. Because that level, l'mayla, is maylo mata kol echad, it's all the same. Ruchni is gashmitz, it's all the same. So therefore the Alter Rebbe's question was, why didn't the Ovis get the Torah? What we were just saying in the previous us, that the Ovis prepared the world for Matan Torah by keeping Torah. So why didn't they get Torah? So the Alter Rebbe is explaining, because they only did it beruchnius. And in order to bring Torah begashmius, it had to be dafka the mitzvah milah, and then Matan Torah, and then they were able to get it. And that had to be through Vayimaras Chayim in Mitzrayim. That was the Hachana. In other words, like Chassidus explains, Kora Barzam in Mitzrayim, the iron comb, that cleans the hide. Yeah, it had to be the purification of the Yiddish body through the torture in Mitzrayim. The bodies were in Golos. There it had to be tortured, because that would refine the body to be able to receive the Torah.
So how did they have the zechut for Hashem to be revealed to them?
Who?
How?
Because they did what they were able to do in Bruchnius. And they reached that level on their own, and therefore with their Avaida, revealing it to on their own, reaching that level on their own, they gave it over to Yerusha, to the Yidden. Avram Avinu gave Chesed, Yitzchak gave Gvura, and Yaakov gave Tiferes.
When we say Marchava, doesn't it mean that the body is completely bought into Hashem?
Yeah.
So here we're not talking about body, we're talking about Ruchni.
No, Avram Avinu's body did what Hashem wanted him to do. With Mesiras Nefesh. He was thrown into a burning fire. He had 10 tasks.
So he did both.
Nevertheless, it says in the Zohar, when Hashem told him we're going to have Yitzchak, it said Yitzchak, that Avram laughed. Yeah, Sarah laughed and Avram laughed. So Sarah laughed, Hashem was angry. Because Sarah laughed that she didn't believe it. So Hashem said, what do you mean she doesn't believe it? Yitzchak by Avram Avinu was the level of Simcha. So that level, so the Zohar says, on that pasuk, how can Avram Avinu tzachak? So the Zohar said, Mikam Makom Gufi. He's still a guf. It was refined, not like a guf could be refined after Matan Torah, but the Bris Milah refined the guf. Okay, so now he says, Zau Inyan, a son of Leah Nachnu. Okay, it's a whole new thing.